You see here, kid? You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
Japan is a place of many worlds. Behind every tree, every door, every street, there is a world happening far different from the one we grew up in here in Canada. Our trip to this beautiful country was one of the best we've ever had, not just because of the food or the beautiful places, but because of the people we met along the way.
You gotta just go for it.
We traveled through Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Nara, and Mount Fuji, and I took hundreds of film photos on the journey. On this trip, I brought my two favorite Japanese cameras, the Contax G1 with a 28mm lens and a Mamiya 6 with a 44mm lens. I used the Contax for a lot of street-style, spur-of-the-moment photos, while saving my medium format film for days and outings I knew would be extremely picturesque. While I mostly shot through a ton of Portra 400 on this trip, I also used Cinestill 500T, 50D, Kodak Gold, and Fuji 400.
You see here, kid? You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
In Tokyo, we wandered around so many different areas like Shibuya, Harajuku, and Shinjuku, which are all very distinct and different from one another. No matter where you go in Tokyo, it's incredible for street photography, and with my Contax being so discreet, I was able to capture a lot of moments of people going about their daily lives without them noticing me. Before we get to sharing more images, I just want to thank the sponsor of this video, All Things Film. They are my go-to film lab, and they made this project possible by providing me with a ton of free scanning. I am so grateful to them, so I just want to give a huge shout out to their amazing customer service and exceptional scanning for my film. A couple reasons you should send your film here is that they give you the option to choose between Naritsu or Frontier scanners, so you can achieve a specific look since the two scanners provide very different results. They also have a pro scanning option where you can select the color tone, contrast, preferences, and brightness. They will work with you to nail down your desired look and give you feedback on achieving it. As a professional wedding photographer that shoots a lot of film, this level of customization has helped me match my film work to my digital seamlessly. If you're ready to send some film, use my code INA to get 10% off your first order. In Kyoto, we had some room to breathe in nature and mentally rest from the hustle and bustle of a big city like Tokyo. As a photographer, I actually enjoyed photographing parts of Kyoto that were outside of the popular Gion district the most. I found it challenging to shoot in the historic Gion area because it really was packed with so many tourists, and when you're shooting on a 28mm lens, it's hard to crop them out unless you're constantly shooting upwards. I found the true gems of Kyoto were outside of the popular areas like the Shorin Temple, which I captured mostly on medium format. Later in the trip, we took the short train ride from Kyoto down to Osaka and entered a totally different universe. Osaka is known for its nightlife, and the famous Dotonbori district is a great place to see that on display. The izakaya restaurants are packed together, the bright lights and famous signs are a place that shines at night, and we thoroughly enjoyed exploring the city after dark. I actually had a roll of Portra 400 already in my camera, so I stopped down to 2.8 and 1/60th of a second for a lot of these shots. Thankfully, the streets were so bright that these images ended up looking really nice and not underexposed. From Osaka, it's a short day trip to the popular town of Nara. Even though it's known for its deer park, there is so much more to see here. We actually rented a car and drove down to a park with a series of waterfalls you can easily hike to. If you're coming to Japan as a photographer, I do recommend renting a car for parts of your trip. There are so many places in the countryside that are inaccessible by train or bus, and you'll definitely want to stop on the side of the road when you see a good moment. The next stop on our travels was the mountains of Hakone, a beautiful region outside of Tokyo with supposedly great views of Mount Fuji. Even though Mount Fuji was behind the clouds the entire time we were there, we did get to see Shirato Falls, which was one of the most stunning waterfalls I've ever seen. We actually planned to stay an extra day in Hakone, but a typhoon was in the forecast, which meant that our train back to Tokyo the next day was suddenly cancelled. So we had to pack up our stuff and hit the road back to Tokyo a day early. Luckily, the typhoon wasn't too bad and actually made the temperature in Tokyo very bearable for one day. We stayed in Shinjuku for a night, and the rain created such a different vibe to the photos compared to the scorching hot city from our first few days there. We saw a sea of umbrellas and joined the crowds of people hiding from the frequent downpours. We spent our last days in Tokyo picking up souvenirs, saying goodbye to the city we loved so much, and capturing some final moments on both 35mm and medium format film. I hope you enjoyed our film adventure through Japan. It really is an incredible place to travel with a film camera.